Xena Warrior Princess. It's probably the reason you clicked on this video, and let me be the first to assure you that the title and thumbnail are not clickbait. This is real. Now, if you don't know, Xena Warrior Princess was a TV show that ran in the mid-90s to early 2000s, and it actually was a spin-off of another show called Hercules, but I would say in retrospect, Xena Princess Warrior is more popular than the original Hercules show. Now, growing up, I do remember seeing it around on TV or whatever, but I don't actually remember watching it too much. It wasn't like my favorite thing, but as a series, I sort of respect it. In my mind, it always sort of reminded me of the Adam West Batman, where you can tell the actors and actresses involved are just having so much fun. It's self-aware enough where it knows it's cheesy and it just falls into it. I feel like Xena's kind of the same way. Lucy Lawless and everyone involved in that show seems like they're having the time of their lives making it, which ultimately sort of makes it more fun to watch. That said, I would never consider Xena Warrior Princess to be an educational TV show, at least not in the traditional sense. But here we are, an educational Xena Warrior Princess / Hercules game. Is it any good? I don't know, but we're gonna open up the box and we're gonna check it out. So let's check out Quest for the Scrolls, Hercules and Xena Learning Adventure. Before we look at the game, we look at the box, right? At least I do. One of the things I notice on this big box release is an Apple QuickTime logo, which for the uninitiated basically means the game contains a crapload of FMV or full motion video sequences. QuickTime was the video player of choice for a large amount of edutainment titles in the 90s, like Oregon Trail 2, Where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego, and countless others. It has a very crunchy, compressed quality that you just know when you see it. If you've ever watched Hark's channel here on YouTube, it's basically the pixelated look she likes to emulate with her characters. As for who is responsible for this Xena Hercules edutainment mashup, that falls on a company called SoundSource Interactive, which, despite the name, has no connection to the Disney SoundSource or Kovacs speech thing parallel sound card, at least to my knowledge. In 1997, when this game was released, the company mainly was making interactive CD-ROMs or screensavers from licensed IP like Star Trek, Star Wars, Terminator 2, Lassie, The Land Before Time, and countless others. So obviously getting the rights to use IP was sort of their thing, but Hercules and Xena Quest for the Scrolls is different in that it's one of the first programs they created that was an actual game. You can see this from the little mail-in card included in the box here, as this was one of their new products at the time. Also included in the box is the CD-ROM, of course, which in my case was still sealed, and it hadn't been opened either. Anyway, clubbing through the plastic and opening the case reveals that you certainly won't get this disc mixed up with anything else. Enough exhibition though, let's play the game. Unsurprisingly, the game starts with an intro cinematic played with a QuickTime video.
Traveling the vast and often dangerous countryside, the Academy's bards carefully recorded all the stories of Hercules and Xena they could find. When Hera, Queen of the Gods, heard of the Academy's library, she was furious. Bent on revenge, she created an evil fog that descended upon the Academy grounds, destroying the scrolls forever.
So we got this evil fog going on. I guess that's the best they could come up with. I'm curious of the logistics of how an evil fog destroys a library, but regardless, it sets up our role in the game. After the intro, we're dumped into an ancient Greek landscape, and we can walk forward to click on this little scroll to sign our name. This is obviously supposed to save your progress, so you can come back and play it again, but there's a problem with that I'll get to a little bit later. After sign-in, you're greeted by, this guy.
Ah, young bard, there you are.
He basically explains what is said in the intro, that you are a bard, and you need to travel around to hear about the glorious deeds of Xena and Hercules to restore the scrolls that were destroyed in that evil fog incident. After this interaction, we're given the choice of 4 scrolls, which are evenly split up based on real episodes of either Xena or Hercules. I will explain how that affects gameplay in a bit, but what do you actually do in this game? Well, first impressions and this toolbar here might lead you to think this is a point-and-click adventure with an inventory, but no, it's more simplistic than that. Like most edutainment titles, you have a loop of activities to complete a run through the game, and it gets more difficult each run you complete. So after the scroll is picked, you're taken to a map, and the bald guy from before announces where we're going like he's revealing a tropical vacation prize from Wheel of Fortune or something. It's kind of strange.
This is what you could win.
Your first destination is the magnificent city of Olympia, home of the famous games.
Anyway, we meet this dude who agrees to help us and tell us a story, but first we have to assist him in the Olympic Games by taking over for his trainer who has fallen ill.
I'll tell you what, my trainer got sick from some of those roadside tacos on the way here. Horrible things.
Wait a minute. I knew it. Alright, so the first event here is wrestling, and look at that animation. It's impeccable. Some of the best 3 FPS aggressive hug animations I've ever seen. So for some reason, the goal here is to solve mathematics story problems to defeat opponents. If you get a question right, you hug your opponent to the ground. If you get one wrong, your opponent hugs you to the ground. Put simply, you have to get 5 questions right before you get 5 wrong, and you win. These are multiple choice questions, and at best I would say require a 3rd grade level of comprehension in multiplication, subtraction, addition, and some simple fractions. Interestingly, all the problems are read aloud by a narrator, and this is true for every bit of text and character dialogue in the game, which is an oddly high effort thing to do for something like this. Next up is a similar activity with a different skin. This time we answer more story problems, but instead of wrestling, we're throwing a discus. The animation is better here, but also dreadfully unskippable, as you have to watch about 40 seconds of animation after answering each question. After answering 5 questions correctly, we move on to the final event of the games, which is a running race. And yep, you guessed it, to win you complete more of the same math problems. My favorite part of this one is when you answer the final question, he makes an awkward final lap around the track with what sounds like roller coaster tycoon sounds going on in the background. Once this is done, the point of all this is revealed and we are told a story. This manifests itself in the form of a 25-second video clip from either Xena or Hercules, depending on the scroll you picked at the beginning of your run. Some of these are uncut clips, while some appear to be edited down so they fit in the allotted time. This is a neat tie-in and a cool incentive for completing the problems, I would say. It seems simple now, but it's kind of hard to explain how cool it was to see video on a PC back then, even if the quality was this. You had to be there, I guess. This was cool, trust me. These clips will come in handy later for piecing your scroll together, so at least it's somewhat needed to watch them regardless. Next up on our loop, we travel to see Beat Nickus, a Cyclops poet who probably likes IPAs, whose stupid rhymes are in my head for days.
I have 4 poems that need your time. But try as I might, I simply cannot rhyme. Take the scroll, you'll see what I mean. Not a single verse can I complete.
So yeah, this isn't just a math game, but rather it tries to teach a variety of different subjects. In these puzzles, you're given a poem like a haiku or a limerick, and you have to fill in the correct words corresponding to either rhymes or the number of syllables. This is kind of cool for teaching different variations of poetry, and it's a nice departure from the Reader Rabbit type stuff where you're just spelling words. Once you organize the words in the correct spots, Beat Nickus will also declare your poem in front of an audience of sheep, so that's something.
The midnight attack! Trojan victory denied!
This is kind of a good lead into probably the biggest issue with this game, that is, because everything is voice acted, there are a very limited number of puzzles and questions across every category. If you haven't figured it out by now, you're only supposed to loop through the game 4 times anyway, so it's not really an issue, but it's definitely not a game you can play over a super long period of time, like the Super Solvers games, which arguably I guess are too long anyway. Regardless, after we finish our poetry, we get another video clip to add to our collection, and we go to a creepy temple. I guess we need to go here to talk to a dead lady or something. To open the temple doors, we have to solve two puzzles. The first one is a jigsaw puzzle, and the second puzzle is this. You spin these things around in a sequence. What do you call this kind of puzzle? Either way, it's not too difficult, almost like this game was designed for 8-year-olds or something. Once in the temple, you can probably guess we get another video clip, but not before the dead lady makes a sick fourth wall breaking burn on whoever didn't want to animate her.
As you can see, I'm not as animated as I used to be.
With our third video clip secured, we move on to our next activity. This one focuses on reading comprehension. First, you're given a story from Greek mythology to read or listen to. Then you're asked multiple choice questions about what was just read, and if they're answered right, you collect these puzzle pieces and navigate through this maze. Interestingly, the stories of Greek mythology that are told here haven't been censored or anything for children, so carrying around Medusa's decapitated head or stories about forced centaur procreation is all in there. Certainly a choice I can't see the learning company making. Moving on, after we venture through the maze, we are told by a random dude to build the creature's picture on the temple wall.
Build the creature's picture on the temple wall.
This is a very straightforward 9-piece puzzle we need to complete to get our next video clip. Our next task is the most fun puzzle, at least in my opinion. You act as a navigator and place these little wind direction icons around and guide your ship through a bunch of obstacles to Poseidon with his big old dinner fork there. It's a bit of trial and error to line everything up right, but like everything in this game, there's no penalty for failure, so you can just keep on trying until you get it. After you clear 4 screens, you get a new video clip and you move on to the final activity. This one is a bit odd. The objective here is to travel around and trade items for the Scroll of Hera, which one of the traders has. I'm not sure why we need a scroll from the very person who destroyed the original scrolls with their evil fog machine, but you know, to beat this one, all you have to do is ask the trader with the scroll what they want for it, and trade around the items you are given with other traders until you get what is needed to trade for the scroll itself. Fittingly, going along with the previous lore, the centaur merchant is a total dick every time you trade with him.
Looks good to me, but if I find anything missing, you better be looking over your shoulder.
Anyway, with this in our possession, we can go on to restore the scroll. This part goes hand in hand with the video clips we've gathered thus far, and what you glean from those you can use to fill in the blanks with the proper words for this story. Again, since you have the choice of narration for everything, you can fill in the blanks with some absurd word choices and it will read it aloud, which is kind of amusing.
She could not understand why Xena had ordered out for pizza so easily. Xena explained that she had sensed a dark chocolate at work in the village.
After that task is complete, you can select the new scroll and play again with a different set of video clips. Or you could quit and use the sign-in screen to play later, right? Well, in theory, but in my experience, it doesn't save the game, so I had to play through the first story twice. Either way, I had to find out how the game rewarded you for winning, so I did play through the entire game in one sitting. If you do complete everything, which realistically only takes a couple of hours, you get the admiration of a balding Greek man and a printable certificate, so that's worth it.
Magnificent! Magnificent! You've outdone yourself again, my friend. Now, it gives me great pleasure to honor you with this certificate. You've earned it, my young friend.
Well, that's about it for Hercules and Xena, Quest for the Scrolls Learning Adventure. Probably one of the stranger edutainment titles I've seen. It is obviously an extremely budget title, and the animation on most of the characters is awful. The artwork and backgrounds aren't bad though, and I think they made do with what they had to work with. I guess if you're a die-hard fan of Xena or Hercules, you might want to check it out, but I think it's an interesting piece of history nevertheless. I would still love to know why it even exists in the first place, but it's a shame we didn't see more TV shows and movies adapted into edutainment. I mean, Rambo First Grade could go hard, I think. Well guys, I'm writing this silly video up in 2025. I don't know if it'll get out by the end of the year, but I hope you enjoyed it. More videos are planned for 2026, of course, with more PC games, sound cards, hardware, and shareware goodness. Special thanks to everyone who subscribes, likes, or supports me monetarily like the folks on screen now. I hope you all had a great 2025. See you next year.